What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back. This is episode 16 in the Novice to GM series. This time, I'm going to be breaking down the fundamentals of how to win a progressive cards game. So, unlike fixed cards, progressive cards is a much faster paced game mode because the value of the cards increases over time. So then it becomes worth to take out people for their cards eventually. Progressive card games take on average like 30 minutes or so, whereas fixed cards can take like an hour or 2 hours or even more. So the main tip behind winning progressive card games is the cards, because the value of the cards become much more important than the value of holding, say, Australia or Africa, which only gives you +2 or +3. The most you can even get from a continent is holding Asia for +7, but that's still nothing compared to, say, in the end game where the sets are worth +60. +7 is not going to do you anything. So, when you're playing progressive cards, the main way to win, obviously, is to take out people for their cards, so that you can take out them, get their cards, and then trade in a set, and then keep going and seeing if you can take out more people. So when you're thinking about taking out players in a progressive card game, you have to ask yourself a couple of questions. The first question is, am I able to take out this opponent? Do I have enough troops to take them out? Are they not blocked from me? For example, look at my troops in Australia. Nobody can, the yellow player can't take me out, the purple player can't take me out. Only blue or orange currently would have any chance of getting to me in Australia. So not only do you have enough troops to take someone out, but also are your troops located correctly to take that player out? Those are two very important questions. Also, is the risk worth the reward of taking that player out? For example, if somebody has like 30 troops, let's say, and you only have like 25, you're not going to go for that, buddy. That's too risky. You have to have at least, let's say, 40 troops or 45 troops for it to be worth it, to be worth that risk. You have to analyze how the risk to reward ratio works out for you, and if it's worth that risk to take out that opponent. The next question that you need to ask yourself after, am I able to take out this player, is it worth it for their cards? For example, let's say that the cards are worth 40 troops, and somebody has, let's say, 30 troops and 3 cards. Then obviously it's worth to take them out for their cards, because the value of the cards is at 40 for 3 cards, and they only have 30 troops, so it's worth to take them out for their cards. Okay, so now you have answered 2 questions. Number 1, am I able to take out this player? If you answered yes, then you can move on to the next question, which is it worth it to take out this player? If you answered yes to that, then you're not done yet. You still have to answer one more question. The final question is, after taking out this opponent, will I be able to turn in a set? The only way you can turn in a set is if you have 5 or more cards. So, after taking out that opponent, will you get 5 or more cards? You have to answer that question to yourself. So let's give an example scenario. You have 4 cards, somebody else has 4 cards. You trade in a set, you have 1 card now. You take out that opponent, and now you're going to get +4 cards, so now you're going to be at 5 cards. So yes, you have 5 cards or more, which is enough to turn in a set afterwards. The only time you would take somebody out and not get 5 or more cards is if you are 100% confident, which is really rare, that you will be able to survive after taking out that opponent. If you're not 100% confident that you will be able to survive after taking someone out and not getting a set, that's key. If you do not get a set after taking them out, then you should not go for taking out that player, because it's too much of a risk. Somebody else is just going to take you out after that. So, in progressive cards, as a summary recap, the key tip to winning is to take out opponents when it's worth for their cards. you need to ask yourself a couple of questions. Number one, am I able to take out this player? Number two, is it worth to take out this player? And number three, am I able to turn in a set after I take out this opponent? If you can answer yes to all of these questions, then it's worth to take out that opponent, and then you can go for your move. You have to constantly be asking yourself these questions in every single stage of the game. It's not as important in the beginning of the game because the value of the cards are only at like 4 or 6 or 8 or 10 troops. So unless somebody has like 4 or 6 or 8 or 10 troops, which is really unlikely because you start off with 20 troops in a 6-player game, then it's not going to be worth to take them out. So the only time when it's worth to take someone out, usually in a 6-player game, is when the value of the sets are at like 20 or 25 or 30 troops. That's when you need to focus on who should I take out next. Not only do you need to focus on who should I take out next, you should also focus on who should I take out after I take out this person. Because if you only take out one person and miss out on the opportunity to take out somebody else, then you're going to waste your advantage. And then somebody else might be able to take out that opponent that you've missed the opportunity of taking out. And then they're going to get an advantage over the rest of the players. So you also need to make sure you know who to take out after you take out a certain player. So those are the key tips. Those are the key tips for the offensive strategy. Now there are other tips for defense, which are staying spread out. As you can see, I have 3 different armies across the map, one in Australia, one in Europe, and one in North America. So as I was saying, players are not going to be able to take me out of the game unless they can get all 3 of these areas. And currently, only orange or blue can take me out because I'm super well spread out in Australia. That's the thing that's keeping me alive in this game. So that's one defensive strategy, is you stay spread out and then you have your army somewhere that only a few players have access to. So you only have to worry about only those few select players having the ability to take you out. So basically, you just apply the offensive strategy in reverse. So you need to think from the other player's perspective and think as if you were them. Like, would you as them want to take out you as yourself? Would it be worth for them to take you out? And if the answer is yes, then you need to make sure that you're the least appealing player to be taken out in that turn. So one of the ways to do that is to stay spread out, because then it's really hard to take you out, especially if you're blocked off from the other players. Another tip of advice is if you're super weak, then you can start doing the 0 or 1 carding strategy, in which you only have 0 or 1 card. And then it's definitely not worth taking you out for your cards, because people are only going to get 1 or 0 cards, and it's not worth to take you out. So that's the key. Those are the key main tips for the defensive strategy. And I already shared the tips for the offensive strategy. So if you are able to master all of these concepts, then you will immediately see improvements in your gameplay. I guarantee if you understand everything that I've said so far, then you will become a much improved player. So if you want to rewind and go over some of the tips that I gave, then feel free to do so. If not, now I can just go into the commentary portion of this game. Okay, now that I explained the basic tips and tricks on how to win coercive card games, I can show you the theory behind it into the actual game. So like I said, I am playing using the defensive strategy of staying spread out correctly by having 3 different points across the map. Especially that territory in Australia makes it such that only orange or blue will be able to access me. Whereas if you look at purple or blue, look at them, they only have 1 region in the entire map. So if you compare me to either blue or purple, who is going to be easier to take out? Well, obviously it's going to be either blue or purple because they only have one place in the entire map. So it is at this moment that purple makes the biggest blunder of the entire game. So he turns in his set and then goes for the blue player. So why is this such a bad mistake, you might ask? So you need to, when you're taking out a player, there are 3 questions you need to answer. Number 1, was he able to do it? Of course he was able to do it. He turned in his set, so it was easily doable. Number 2, was it worth it for his cards? At this stage of the game, it was worth it for those 4 cards, so that was okay. Number 3, will he be able to survive after taking him out, since he didn't get 5 or more cards? The answer to that is obviously not. Look, orange has 4 cards. I have 4 cards. The chances of us not having a set are next to 0. So was the risk of taking out blue and not getting a set worth it? Of course not. He's gonna have to be super lucky if neither of us has a set. So that was a huge blunder in this game, and you'll see exactly why right now. Why that was such a huge mistake. If I play my cards correctly, I should be able to take out all of the players this turn, starting with the purple for his 5 cards actually. There I go. And I can go straight through Australia, split off 7 troops for those 3 territories, and then get ready to take out the orange player after this. That's the key to this. I don't stop at one player. I go for the next player. Had I stopped at purple, the orange player would have turned in his set, and then I would have lost the advantage, my one opportunity to win this game. But I don't make that mistake, and instead I go for the orange player by placing my troops down in North America to take out his around 30 troops. So I have like 40 troops there, a little bit over 40 troops actually, to take out orange. So with balanced blitz on my side, the chances of me winning this are really high, especially since his armies are split off like this. So I'm able to take out orange and not only get 1 set, but get 2 sets because I have 8 cards. And with 8 cards, you can turn in 2 sets. So the game is over now. I can finish taking out green for his 3 cards. And by the way, every time that you take out a player, the timer gets reset by 30 seconds, which makes it easier to take out the next player because now you have 30 more seconds to take out them. So that's why you have to be super efficient with your time. Don't waste a single second, because if you're able to be extremely efficient, then you can do exactly what I'm doing right now, which is taking out opponent after opponent until you achieve complete world domination. And just like that, I can finish off this bot with ease. So as a result of the purple player's mistake, I was actually able to take out everyone in this game, all of the remaining players. And I guarantee you, if you understand these tips and tricks, you will improve your game 100-fold in progressive cards when it comes to progressive cards. Alright, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.